For almost all of human history, this moment didn't exist. No doors, no walls, no bedrooms. Just you, your family, and 20 other people sleeping only a few feet away. So how did ancient humans have privacy? The short answer: they didn't. The longer answer is much more interesting. Let's start with reality. For roughly 300,000 years, humans lived in small groups of about 15 to 50 people. You weren't just related to everyone around you, you were physically close to them almost all the time. Hunter-gatherer camps had no walls, no separate rooms, and almost no private spaces. People slept together for warmth. They ate together. They sat around the same fire every night. If you needed to have a conversation, everyone could hear it. If you were angry, everyone knew. And if you and your partner wanted time alone, the group probably noticed that too. So how did couples deal with it? Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies have noticed a few common patterns. The first strategy was timing. Most intimate moments happened at night, when it was dark and people were asleep, or at least pretending to be asleep. Darkness created a kind of psychological privacy even when physical privacy didn't exist. The second strategy was distance. Couples would quietly walk away from camp. Not too far, because leaving the firelight completely could be dangerous due to predators, but enough to avoid being directly beside everyone else. In complete darkness, even 50 feet away was enough to disappear from sight. The third strategy, and this is the most important one, was social protocol. People simply pretended not to notice. Think of it like being on a camping trip in a crowded tent. Someone needs to change clothes. You don't stare. You look away. You give them psychological space, even though there's no real physical privacy. That's exactly what ancient humans did. They developed unspoken social rules around privacy. Certain things were understood, but never acknowledged openly. But here's where it gets really interesting. Privacy itself may not have mattered to them the same way it matters to us today. Anthropologist Colin Turnbull spent years living with the Mbuti people in Central Africa. He observed that they didn't even have a specific word for privacy. Not because they were primitive, but because the idea of wanting to be completely alone felt unusual to them. For most of human history, being alone wasn't peaceful. It was dangerous. Solitude meant vulnerability. It meant being separated from the safety and protection of the group. Now let's talk about the bathroom situation, because everyone thinks about it. Ancient humans didn't have toilets or outhouses. When someone needed to go, they simply walked away from camp, usually to a designated area downwind. They handled their business and returned. Was it private? By modern standards, not really. People could probably still see where you went. But once again, social behavior mattered more than physical separation. Nobody followed you, nobody watched. People intentionally ignored it to create the feeling of privacy. It's actually similar to how modern humans behave in public restrooms. Other people are nearby, you can hear them, and they can hear you, but everyone silently agrees to pretend otherwise. Now, let's talk about sleeping. Ancient humans slept in groups, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. At night, temperatures dropped. Predators hunted nearby, and fires needed constant attention. Sleeping close together meant warmth, protection, and survival. Archaeological evidence from Ohalo 2 shows that around 23,000 years ago, humans built tiny shelters that were barely large enough for a family to lie down inside. Everyone was packed together. There was no turning over in your sleep without bumping into someone else. And this way of living continued for tens of thousands of years. Even during medieval Europe, entire families often slept in a single room, sometimes even in the same bed. The idea of children having their own bedrooms is surprisingly modern. It didn't become common until the 1900s. So, when did privacy actually become normal? The answer is agriculture. Around 10,000 years ago, humans began farming. Farming meant staying in one place instead of constantly moving. Staying in one place meant building permanent homes, and permanent homes meant walls. For the first time in human history, people could close a door. They could create spaces hidden from everyone else. But even then, privacy was still a luxury. Only wealthy families had separate bedrooms. Most people continued living in one-room houses with their entire family nearby. Privacy as a basic expectation, something ordinary people believe they deserve, only became common in the last few hundred years. Here's the part that's difficult for modern people to fully understand. Ancient humans may not have wanted privacy the way we do today. Psychologist Eric Fromm argued that the desire for privacy is closely connected to individualism. In societies where identity is deeply tied to the group, being alone doesn't feel relaxing. It feels uncomfortable and isolating. For ancient humans, the group was everything. Your survival depended on other people. Your identity came from your role within the tribe. Being alone wasn't peaceful, it was dangerous. Today, we face almost the opposite problem. Modern humans are so isolated that loneliness has become an epidemic. We finally gained all the privacy we could ever want, yet many people feel miserable because of it. So here's the real answer. Ancient humans created privacy through social understanding, not physical separation. They built invisible boundaries using timing, distance, and mutual silence. They didn't always need to be physically alone, because their sense of self was completely different from ours. And when agriculture gave humanity walls, we slowly built the modern world around them. A world where you can shut a door and be completely alone. A world where someone can go days without seeing another person. A world where privacy has become so normal that we've forgotten what it replaced. For nearly 290,000 years, humans were almost never alone. Then we invented walls. And in many ways, we also invented loneliness.